Yeah, you
I
know
got
what?
it right.
You know what? You don't have a concussion this week. We'll get to the concussion stuff. I want to, being having some rugby background, I can kind of have a little bit to explain about concussion that makes it kind of different from other injuries.
I've had a concussion.
Good man.
Yeah. I don't want to tell the story how I got it though, because it's not like cool or nothing.
It's not like street fighting a bunch of ninjas.
No, it's embarrassing actually.
No, I want to know.
Of course you want to know, you should know, you prick.
Alright, that's not we're supposed to be talking about football. But let's kind of just sort of start off like professionals here.
What's professional?
We're going to talk transfer deals that look like they're done. I think on our first podcast that we did, the pilot episode, which we've deleted from existence because the quality was so bad of the audio.
It wasn't the material, it was the quality of the...
I kind of wish we kept the material, but I think I still have a copy of it somewhere. Maybe we could try and fix the audio, but the audio was horrible, so we deleted it from existence. And we kind of talked then about where we saw our teams going for next season. And it's a bit too early to talk about the World Cup because it hasn't started till yet. So I want to talk about transfers that are done as opposed to speculation, because
rumours, because there's
there's
a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. Liverpool's linked with every third goalkeeper in the world.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of talk about Liverpool's current goalkeeper, and people throwing their opinions and journalists looking for headlines. So, where do you want to start?
Well, as you say, we'll start transfers because I'm dying to chat about Karius again, but we'll leave the credit alone for another. But United have a couple of days done this week.
Yeah, so I know Dallaton, but has Fred signed on the dotted line in the shirt?
I haven't seen him on the shirt yet.
Yeah,
but apparently everything's dusted.
The club announced it, didn't they, on Twitter or something?
They haven't announced that they've agreed a deal, and he's passed the medical, but they haven't says, here he is in his nice shiny shirt.
Well, I'd say what the thing about him not being the nice shiny shirt is because is he with Brazil's squad right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, like, when Liverpool signed Firmino, they literally travelled to Brazil to put him in that shirt photo because he was away playing in the Copa America or something like that. So they sometimes when players are away in international duty, it's hard to get them out of camp to come and actually sign. So you would hope that they've the deal done if they're announcing it like that.
I'd say it's done. If they're to put it up in their Twitter feed that it's done, then it's done.
Right. So,
but both sides the Brazilian.
Yeah, Fabinho's in at Liverpool. Interesting in the way that it just suddenly appeared out of nowhere and no one had any idea it was coming.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere. I haven't seen another deal like that. Fred, I think he was City bound, but he chose the red side of Manchester, the same way Sanchez done. A lot of talk about how...
Let's be honest, there's one reason why Sanchez chose that.
100%.
600 grand or something every couple of days.
Yeah. He hasn't proven he's worth it just yet. I don't think we've signed the Sanchez that Arsenal had just yet. Hopefully a new season, new Sanchez.
You see, the thing about this, I never understood the massive clamour for Sanchez, apart from the fact that you're getting him on a free. Like, I think...
I don't think it was free in the long run.
Yeah, it wasn't... Obviously, it wasn't free in the long run, but it was... His contract was running down. He had 6 months left to go. Arsenal were kind of forced into selling him. But I was kind of thinking, was he really worth all the trouble? Like, is he that good? Because I remember Liverpool tried to get him as part of the deal that took Suarez to Barca, but he didn't want to go to Liverpool, he wanted to go to London. So he went to Arsenal instead, and then Barca bought Suarez. And I was kind of thinking, but is Sanchez even as good as Suarez?
I don't know, they're two different players.
They are, but like...
Sanchez is more of a winger.
Yeah, it's weird. I do see Sanchez as a quality player, but is he world class?
I'm going to reserve my judgment until this coming season.
Because what age is he? 28? 29?
29, is he? I
mean, it's not like he's going to develop.
No, he's in his prime.
Yeah, like right now is where he's at.
Yeah.
I wonder...
He can win matches.
We might as well get straight into talking about where Man United are going. I'm kind of wondering about this because Where do you see the formation going now that Fred is in? I mean, Dalot's a teenager. There's no point in... Was he a teenager? 20?
19.
No, he's only 19, yeah. So there's no point in suggesting that he's going to be a first-team player no matter how much was spent on him. He is a kid, we'll not worry about him. But so for Fred...
I still do think he's going to get a lot of game time, though.
Probably. What way do you think United will line up with Fred now coming into the midfield? What would be your thoughts on what formation they go with?
It'll be Mourinho's favoured three-man midfield. You'll have Pogba pressing high. You'll have Fred and kind of a free roaming in the midfield, and then obviously Matt's doing what he does best, sitting back and cleaning up front of the defence. I think the idea with Fred is to give Pogba that freedom to move up. Basically, it's a make or break season for Pogba, because if he doesn't pull out his arse this year, I think he'll be heading on.
So do you think Fred is an upgrade on Herrera in that role next to Matic?
I think he maybe do. Well, I haven't seen them play. I haven't watched them play enough. But from what I've read on opinions of him, I think he can do the job better than Herrera or Fellaini or even Mata was in there a couple of times.
Yeah, well, Tim Vickery is... you know Tim Vickery is?
Yes.
So Tim Vickery is the one who described him as a left-footed Fernandinho.
Yeah.
But I kind of went back and I watched Shakhtar versus Roma in the Champions League, which is kind of where I'd first seen him playing as a hold midfielder. Scored a fantastic free kick that night too. And I can see why he compared him to Fernandinho, because it's kind of the role he was playing with Shakhtar.
Yeah.
But then that led me down the YouTube video,
as it does on
Scout Nation's channel.
And the hours pass by.
When you watch him play some of the other games when he's playing in Ukraine and they're not playing against the most difficult opposition, you see a lot more skills coming out than you would expect of a player.
Brazilian.
You know, yeah, a lot more skillful. I mean,
flair.
You know, almost as good as Lucas, I would say. Lucas's videos on YouTube before he signed for Liverpool were pretty cool too. I just want to sort of draw that to your attention.
Actually, just on a footnote, did you see Lucas got Player of the Year for Lazio this year?
Yeah,
71% of the votes.
Liverpool fans love spamming a poll.
Isn't that ridiculous?
I don't think it was actually that, but he had a brilliant season for them.
71%.
Mm-hmm. May have been some.
And their top goal scorer had 41 goals and only got like 14% or something ridiculous like that.
Have you ever seen the formation they play?
No, I don't pay much attention to this area anymore.
It's a back three. Genuinely three centre halves. The wing backs are midfielders playing right up in midfield, and then you have Lucas in front of the back three, and then essentially what I can only describe as four midfielders pushing up behind two forwards. It's like you would expect, like, I can see why the striker scored 41 goals. It's Ciro Immobile, right?
Yeah.
Immobile scored, yeah. So he's also been linked with Liverpool, which I really don't get, because he burned Klopp once.
He was at Dortmund, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was bought to replace Lewandowski, and he had a pretty poor season.
He went straight back to Serie A again, or in Spain,
was
it?
He went a few different places, and eventually found a home for himself at Lazio. You know, so that's alright. But yeah, so he's
But is it not mental that more Liverpool fans voted in that poll than the actual Lazio fans?
Well, you know, there's all those polls, like especially when I know from Irish fans' perspective, and Irish fans, we love a bandwagon too, so we know how to spam poll when we want.
Mission accomplished. Even Lucas is fucking scratching his head.
The funny thing was, I saw people talking about that. The petition that was online for, I know, to get Ramos retroactively banned, and what's the word I'm looking for? Retrospectively.
Yeah, that sounds right. Fancy word day.
So there was 500,000 signatures, and everyone was laughing about 500,000 signatures. And I was going, there's 98 million people in Egypt who hate him too.
Oh yeah.
I was like, the idea that this was just Liverpool fans. I think I could walk down the street in Cairo and find 500,000 people that would have signed that poll. I could have literally just gone and like throw a stone in a random direction, and within a day I could have got those 500,000.
We've gone off topic. Back to Fred.
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough of him. I just hope it isn't another Cleverson, Anderson type failure.
Well, he's had good games in the Champions League, so that's probably a good
Well,
sign.
I've read he's 2-footed. You know, he isn't afraid of a tackle. He's good tactical head on him. Good ability.
Gilberto Silva.
Yeah.
He's a big fan of his. Is Gilberto Silva his agent? Did I hear?
Oh, I don't know.
Like Gilberto Silva was class.
Some of his best years at Arsenal. He was part of the Invincibles.
He was. He's the part that people always forget is the guy who partnered Vieira that season, wasn't it?
He did.
So
in the centre.
People often forget him. He was a massive part of it, that playing that role. He was actually wasn't it? He kind of made his name when he came into the Brazilian team as a replacement for Emerson. Emerson, I think, got injured in the lead up to the World Cup in a practice game, doing playing as a goalkeeper. I think it was Emerson, and Emerson had to drop out. And
as you do.
Gilberto came in, and it was Gilberto Silva and Cleverson that was it 2002 they won the World Cup with those two in there, or was it another one since then?
2002.
It would have been 2002,
It was 2002
because it's been a long time since the Invincible season now.
Yeah.
So, again, we're going slightly off topic here, but yeah, Gilberto Silva seems to highly rate Fred, and if he's a player as good as Gilberto Silva, I think United have got a very good player.
I hope so. Like another piece of the missing puzzle. It's like Mourinho's midfield, if it works, everything else can work around it. Fullback positions.
I want to draw your attention to something in the midfield though, and it's something that I thought has been a problem for Man United. Is like you talked about Mourinho playing 3 midfield. Mourinho plays essentially 5 midfield because the wingers are expected to drop back.
Yeah.
Like most people do that, except for Klopp, who seems to think defending is for defenders and no one else. And so you, what I kind of noticed though about Pogba kind of wants to be in the centre of the pitch, getting forward. And like you said, if you've got 2 players behind him, he can do that. But I find is that when he's in there, that's where Sanchez is coming in off the wing in there too. Because that's kind of what Sanchez does.
Yep.
You know, he can go down the wing, but he tends to come in off that left-hand side and go in behind the striker. And I'm kind of thinking, a few times I've thought, are he and Pogba getting each other's way?
Yeah.
You know, it's going to take a kind of some clever tactical manoeuvring from Mourinho to kind of go, okay, when he goes in, Pogba, you go out, because I think Pogba could be a real threat if he's finds a little bit of pocket of space out there. You see, actually, it's Real Madrid. I see this all the time. Toni Kroos going out left midfield. Whenever whoever's playing left comes in, Toni Kroos will go out there along with Marcelo. And it's almost like he'll be the facilitator to Marcelo bombing down the wing. Like you don't always see maybe Marcelo taking guys on with step overs and tricks and stuff. It's usually just he plays the ball in, but it's like Kroos has kind of come over to help him kind of be like a play a little 1-2 to get him into that space down there. And I just think, you know, that's a thing that you could use Pogba for, is sort of getting into those spaces whenever the winger tucks in and allowing Sanchez to come inside and having him go out wide.
Being honest, I'm probably one of Pogba's harshest critics because he has the potential. Like, he went to Juventus with a point to prove because he was hacked off at United. And he proved it. He showed he has the potential, world class. And then when United paid the money, it's almost like he proved his point, and he's done absolutely fuck all since.
It's like you wanted United to waste the money on him.
Yeah.
And
now I want him to play for the team instead of playing for his ego. I think it is all ego based. It's driven by where he is today, but to excel and be a leader in that pitch, he wants to win the Ballon d'Or. That's one of his lifelong ambitions. He's not going to do it when he's doing. Like, even the French team are struggling to get the best in at the minute. I don't know if it was the case because his confidence is low because he had a really averagely poor season, or is it again ego?
Well, from what I'm hearing about Deschamps is that people aren't happy with Deschamps in France anyway. I kind of thought when I saw Zidane quit, it's because he expects the France job to be available come the end of the summer.
Are they going down tools again?
Well, if they're not happy with Deschamps, I think whenever there's any kind of dislike of the coach in the press,
they sulk.
It eventually feeds to the players. And the players can be all behind the coach, but then if things don't go right and the pressure comes on the players, they start thinking, well, maybe the press are right.
Yeah.
And then they have the inevitable fallout with the coach.
It's ridiculous though, isn't it? It's almost like history repeating itself over and over.
There was someone actually said about Zidane was that no one should have been surprised that Zidane was a successful coach, that he coached France to a World Cup final back in 2006.
Basically,
with an average
single-handedly.
Like his supposedly he was the one coaching the team that year.
But do you remember? I'm going to draw your attention to that one game that stands out in my head. It was France and Brazil that year, where it was basically the Zidane show. Like a single performance. It's the single greatest performance I've seen of a player on a pitch. He was everywhere. He done everything. That was
You're talking about 2006 or
2000? Yeah,
98. No, because
the same year.
It was 98.
Hit banging.
Oh, wasn't it 98 they won the World Cup and they beat Brazil in the final? It was the year Ronaldo had the original Ronaldo.
Yeah, he had the fit.
The weird fit for the game.
Yeah.
But I think Zidane scored twice in that final.
He did, 2 headers, identical.
It was a brilliant performance that night too.
But drawing the attention to that 1-0 one in 2006, it's Henry got the winner, assisted by Zidane. If you go to YouTube, you can even watch like a 6-minute video of just Zidane on the ball and just taking the absolute piss of the Brazilian players single-handedly. It's phenomenal. Definitely have watched that.
Yeah.
Actually, now that we're on Zidane, since we've been recording last, he's gone.
Like I said, probably because maybe he thinks the French job will be available next summer.
Would you leave Madrid for the French job though?
Well, I think he... In fact, did he say that he couldn't be arsed with the team? He didn't say exactly those words. I'm sure it was something eloquent in French that he said. But it was... I think he kind of realised that he got a little bit of a helping hand or two as the tournament went on. And it wasn't like they just ran over everyone this year. There was a lot of games where they
were lucky this year.
They kind of flipped through a few games, and then I think he kind of looked at the team and went, the league season is kind of a better example of where they're at. Did they finish third or second after all? I think they finished third. I think Atletico
was
finished
after
second.
Atletico, wasn't it?
So they were way behind Barcelona, and he kind of went, this team needs to be rebuilt. It's not my strength. My strength is getting all these big name players to listen to me because I'm Zidane.
Which is a fair point.
You know what I mean? Because Rafa Benitez, we've seen how well he's done with a team like Newcastle. You know, and we've seen what he did with Valencia and different bits of success out of Liverpool. You get him a team of players who will listen to him, and he can make you a hard-working, rigid, hard-to-beat team, and he can get the best out of meagre resources. When he went to Real Madrid and he tried to organise the Real Madrid players and tell them what to do, they just went, who are you to tell us how to play football?
Exactly.
Like, I think there was supposedly a moment where Cristiano Ronaldo actually laughed at him when he suggested something, and from then on, none of the other players listened to him. Because it was like, well...
They didn't respect him.
Like, and that's awful to say, but when Zidane walks in there with 5 Ballon d'Ors or something, he has 2... Ronaldo, and still revered as one of the maybe top 3 greatest players ever.
Unbelievable.
Well, then maybe he doesn't go, Ronaldo do this. He kind of goes to the other players, Kroos, Modric, guys of a different kind of temperament who've been in different teams where they weren't the stars, and he can kind of go, okay, you guys are going to do this, and the guys up front are going to do whatever they want.
Yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, supposedly that was Carlo Ancelotti's way of dealing with the Real Madrid players too. It was just kind of go, I don't need to tell you how to play football. I mean, like, it's like you know how to play.
I felt Ancelotti was sold short in that job though.
I was.
But again, this is Real Madrid.
Yeah, Real Madrid will sack a guy after winning the Champions League, so the fact that Zidane was just like, well, if Someone suggested maybe Zidane. Zidane was under pressure supposedly about halfway through the season, and it was the Champions League that kept him in the job.
He didn't look like he enjoyed it this year.
And I'd say he was probably going, well, if you boys were thinking about sacking me, it doesn't matter how much you love me now. I'm out. Peace out.
get out.
Y'all be cool. See how you do without me.
Layers.
Keeping a lid on fucking Cristiano and Gareth Bale's only way is Essex feud.
Yeah. Two massive egos looking to get out. But are they looking to get out? Or is it just it's contract time?
They're looking to get what they want.
What do they want?
Well, I would assume that what Bale wants is to be a first choice player because, like some other people, maybe he is the target of winning a Ballon d'Or.
Where does he go?
Well, you see, what I think is what he wants is to get guarantees that he'll get the game time at Real Madrid. Will he get that so long as Ronaldo's calling the shots?
You see, here's the thing. Who now replaces Zidane? And with that in place, what role has Gareth Bale got in that team? I do think, as you say, if he isn't going to be a regular starter, he's going to move on to pastures new. But whoever's coming in to take this job over is hardly going to turn around to the match winner of the Champions League and go, yeah, we don't know if you're going to start. They're going to make him whatever promises they're going to make him at the very start, keep him happy, keep him there, and then
we'll see if they can keep the promises.
Yeah. But who takes over? Who do they want? Who do they need? Like, I know, again, going on speculation of media and papers, you have Pochettino, who only signed a new deal, long-term deal with Spurs 10 days before Zidane walked, with no clause.
Well, apparently Real Madrid are not interested in Poch anymore.
Probably because they'll blow their transfer budget to get him. This is Daniel Levy we're talking about, a man that decides, I does a good job, I'll just double my pay.
He's done well for Spurs in the way he's negotiated deals.
Well, Spurs have money to spend now with the stadium. Or are they going to fall into the Arsenal trap where Arsenal fell into the bus for nearly 5 or 6 years with no money to spend because of the financial commitments of having a new stadium?
Is their stadium finished?
No. It's supposed to be ready for September. It looks like absolute dog shit at the minute from the pictures that have been released. Unless they can get a pitch slide and the stadium finished before kick-off. Where are they going next year? Back to Wembley to play many away games again.
Also, are they paying rent to Wembley? Probably.
Probably, yeah.
Probably not cheap. The thing about building a new stadium is it's, like you said, it's not just the building of it, but you've got to pay back the building of it for years and years.
Yeah. And
whatever more income you're making, you're still paying those loans back.
Yeah. So I don't know. You have Pochettino. Wenger was also mentioned. They've apparently.
I think Wenger would be a good choice.
They've went from a few times apparently in the past, and he's always turned them down because of his fascination with Arsenal.
Well, he said that he was thinking about it when they moved into the stadium. He said that they would, he'd get them into the new stadium and then he would leave. But then at the same time, the bank asked him to stay on for 5 years after they moved into the stadium because that was one of the guarantees the bank wanted.
To secure the loan for the stadium?
To secure the continued money for the stadium. And the reason that I'd say that they wanted Wenger in place was not because he was going to make Arsenal super successful, is that he was going to keep Arsenal's cash flow in a good place.
Keep the revenue stream coming to get the stadium.
Because the bank don't care how Arsenal's doing. The bank want the money, baby.
They don't care how Arsenal gets it.
They want that cash money.
They got ahead.
It's no interest to them if it's Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, Burton Albion that owes them the money. They want their money. They
don't care how they get it.
Government-sponsored debt collectors.
Yeah, they could have Jack Wilshere out selling crack on the corners of Emirates Stadium to pay for it. They don't care. Antonio Conte, I seen today, also mentioned. He's still at Chelsea. I don't think he wants to be at Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea want him. I think they're both being stubborn over him leaving and them sacking him.
Is it they just can't agree a compensation deal with him?
I'd say that is exactly it. He wants them to pay the full amount. They don't want to sack him because it would cost too much, but they don't want him there. They want him to leave. Maybe this Real Madrid job being there could help.
Yeah.
Conte move on.
The funny thing is, most people think Napoli's coach Sarri is going to get the job, but they've already announced that Ancelotti is going to take over from Sarri, but Sarri still hasn't left Napoli because he's still under contract. It was just everyone expected him to go to Chelsea when Conte left, and they even announced that Ancelotti was coming in, but Sarri hasn't left, and Conte hasn't left, and now everyone's kind of in limbo, and Napoli have 2 coaches technically at the minute. It's just very weird.
Is he looking for the payoff to be sacked as well?
It's weird. Very weird. But you know what? I don't know. Who knows?
I think whoever takes over Madrid has a big job to rebuild. I don't know if Wenger can do it. I don't know if Conte can do it. Is there an outside?
I know who.
Who?
Heineke's. He's going to be free. He's leaving Bayern Munich.
Is he not come out of retirement just to help Munich?
And then he went back into retirement again. People keep thinking Munich is sacking him. Munich never sacked him. He keeps retiring on them. And they keep having to get him out of retirement to take the job whenever some young upstart messes it up. Or in this case, was it Ancelotti?
Send the cab back down the retirement home and left them there. Tell the nurse we'll have him back by tea time.
Apparently, like his wife is like, "You are not going back to Bayern Munich one more time. Just
one more.
Just one more league title. How many more? Like, I don't even have to go to work that much to win the league title. Just go, lads, don't concede stupid goals. We'll win every game." Because you think about it, like Tuchel's Klopp, all the top managers like Guardiola, and I suppose Guardiola's at Munich, have all left Germany now. And then there's a couple of young ones, but it's like all the managers all the clubs with the best young managers are having their players robbed off them anyway. And there's a bit of a lull period for German football right now. Like there's no other team other than Bayern Munich in Germany that is any kind of a threat in Europe.
But it's turned into the Scottish League.
Yeah.
It's a one team league.
Like whatever Tuchel was going to do after he took over from Klopp at Dortmund, he kind of brought them back a bit, but then he just left after only 2 years. I think he'd fallen out with a few people or something, and then he just left.
And now he's gone to PSG.
Yeah, he took a year out and got the PSG job.
Where the superstars run the dressing room. Let's see how that works out for him.
Well, see, it's interesting. Although I
bet he's really requested Neymar on Facebook.
He got the best out of Aubameyang. Klopp never saw him as a striker.
He played with a winger, didn't he?
Well, he did have Immobile that they had spent a lot of money on to try and
couldn't have a barn door banjo
to try and get some stuff out of, and they brought the two of them at the same time, and one was in the wing, and he just they was when Tuchel came in. Tuchel's like, okay, I'll give you a go up front, and everything worked out for him for a couple of years before he just abandoned ship at Dortmund, and Dortmund haven't been the same since.
No.
And so without Dortmund to challenge Bayern Munich, like it's been kind of left up to like Leipzig, who everybody hates because they're basically just Red Bull's plaything, and they've come out of nowhere, and it's not a great look for German football right now. No doubt there's great players all over the league. There's quality in different teams, but there's not enough quality in enough teams
to make it interesting,
to get anywhere close to Bayern. And you look at poor Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim had their best centre half taken last year, and looks like they're gonna have their best centre half taken this year by Bayern again. Like if you were Nagelsmann, you'd just be like, "Can you fuck off, Bayern?
Go and block their number or something."
People keep saying that every time the Bayern job comes up, they goes, "Oh, they'll be after Klopp." Klopp, I'd say, hates Bayern.
Yeah,
hates them with a passion. Like
it's probably not a case if he can't beat them, join them.
It might take like 10 years or something before he can get over his hatred of Bayern to go back there. It's one of the reasons he left Germany. Like he could have taken another German job, but
he's sick of Bayern.
He was sick of Bayern.
Right, I have a question. It's a one-word question. Now that we're past the half-hour mark, I think it's time to spice it up. Are you ready?
Go for it.
Ramos? Question mark.
Meh.
Come on.
What do you want me to say?
Well, there's been more talk this week again. Obviously, there's a talk with Karius with a concussion. There has been Ramos actually been vocal about the criticism he's getting.
Right.
where he stated that Salah should have got an injection at half time and came back on.
Okay. Let me kind of.
Oh, did you hear what he said in the interview about the witch hunt against them? He said that he's surprised that Roberto Firmino hasn't turned around now and said he's caught a flu because Ramos' sweat has dripped on him.
Yeah. Well, like, what it kind of shows is that, you know, he's a bit classless. But then again, I've followed his career since he was a teenager playing Sevilla. I know everything about him. And the whole thing, people were like, you've got to give Ramos the benefit of the doubt. And that is, I've seen Ramos his entire career. I don't give him the benefit of the doubt because I got the measure of him. We all know what he's like. And the thing is, look, people are criticising him. He responded. They were looking for headlines. There's a lot less in what he actually said than what gets paraded around in headlines. As for the Salah could have played on, the point I'd like to bring up that people don't seem to realise is that Liverpool took Salah off. Liverpool's doctor took Salah off. And it wasn't that Salah went off. Salah went down the second time after he tried to play on. Klopp called the doctor over to him when they were treating him the second time. The doctor gave him the whole little shake of the head. Klopp took him off because Klopp does seem to, you know, he seems to have a genuine like for his players. He probably thought, okay, let's protect him here. And it obviously hurt them in the game, but the game was a week and a half ago now, and it was just a game. And, you know, Klopp seems to have gotten over it because he probably thinks he did the right thing in protecting the player. But like I said, it was between the doctor and Klopp that took hm off. Salah didn't go over and ask to be taken off.
Yeah. Karius, concussion? Alleged concussion.
No, it's not. Do you think that Boston specialist makes it up?
I didn't read the report.
Alright, so this is how it works. This is how it works. Yes.
Did you actually read the report?
This is how it works with what happens. Karius was going on holidays. It just so happened he was in America. Liverpool are owned by a company based out of Boston, New England area anyway.
Yeah.
But in America, where CTE is a huge deal, concussion is a huge deal because of the NFL, the number of hundreds every season. They said, okay, so the doctor, I think he was telling Liverpool he was feeling kind of weird. So they spoke to the medical staff at Liverpool and they were like, well, that sounds wrong 5 days later.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a specialist in Boston. Get yourself to Boston. We'll let him know you're coming. He went there. Liverpool told no one about this.
Yeah.
Someone in the hospital leaked it originally. They don't know exactly who, but they leaked it that he was there getting a scan. The hospital then asked Karius, could they answer the questions they were getting, because they said that their phone lines were getting jammed up by reporters calling about this.
That's why I couldn't get through.
That's why you couldn't get through?
Yeah.
So, they're like, you know, it's... Everyone can, like, have a laugh about this, but the genuine hospital was having problems, and they felt that the only way that they could do it was if they released
a statement.
They asked Karius could they do it. Karius said fine. He probably wasn't thinking right anyway. No, they said, look, they checked him out. They said he definitely suffered a concussion. They would know. They're the experts. Again, I decided that last night, preemptively, I went through Liverpool's newsfeed on their website, Liverpool's Twitter profile. I went through it all. They have not mentioned it once. People keep saying that they're using this. They haven't mentioned it.
No,
it's
they
nowhere.
haven't.
In fact, the player hasn't mentioned it. The club haven't mentioned it. They never spoke about it. No one spoke about it from the club. It came out from the hospital because they were being inundated. They needed people to stop ringing the hospital because real sick people might have been ringing the hospital and not fucking journalists.
And why haven't Liverpool responded?
Well, Liverpool don't want to, because it's a private matter between Karius and his doctors. Liverpool
but surely that would be a big difference in the opinions that he's been condemned. Even ourselves, we condemned him last time we spoke. Surely
for his performance.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, once it's out there, there's no taking it back, right? And at the time the incident happened, he had no outward signs of a concussion. But this is the funny thing about concussions, is they don't always show themselves right away, and they're not the same in everybody.
They're not obvious.
right? They're not obvious. So he suffered a concussion, and some people suggest that, I think it was Courtois said that when he got a concussion that he couldn't see, but the doctors have suggested that his depth perception might have been affected, which would explain why he threw a ball straight to Benzema, because he thought Benzema was somewhere else.
He thought it was 6 or 7 yards further away from him?
Yeah. Now that's if we want to say, okay, it is. Now, what people are saying is going, man up, play on. Like, concussion's no excuse. 5 years ago in rugby, we were saying that too. And I sent you the link of Jared Payne retiring.
Yeah.
Jared Payne retired. He had the same problem. He was having concussion symptoms days after a game. I don't think he was substituted in the game. Nobody knows how it happened. He was playing on the Lions tour. They were just like, a few days afterwards, they were like, I think you have a concussion, Jared. And then they tested him, he had a concussion, and he ended up retiring because he couldn't get the symptoms to go away for a full year.
It's crazy.
And no one had really any clue where it came from when it originally happened. That's the Karius thing that I'm worried about, not the game. The game happened a week ago. It was shitty. Okay, it happened. You can say, oh, this is just an excuse. Forget the game.
But is it fair to still condemn him in the same light, given that there's a huge possibility that the young fellow was concussed?
Of course not. You shouldn't condemn him. But the people who are
we
saying...
did. But
absolutely
now
did.
there's different information.
Absolutely
Sheds a different light. Even myself, who is not on your side, I mean, that would be that obvious.
I've been knocked out in rugby. You said you've had a concussion.
Yeah. Not in rugby.
I got tested for a concussion 2 days afterwards because I was still getting headaches. And the doctors in Letterkenny didn't know. They said, don't know, if you're still like getting headaches in a week's time, come back. That was the best that they could give me.
Yeah.
What happened to me was we were training on AstroTurf, and I had I'll be nice to the fella, he was about 20 stone, and he fell ass first on my head, and I got my head pushed into the AstroTurf, and an AstroTurf is not like a real pitch.
Yeah, there's no sponge to it.
So it was smashed my head into the ground. Whatever, a day or two later, I'm at work, I'm repeating myself, and people are like, "There's something wrong with you, Sean." So
yeah, you were a guy's fucking ass as a hat.
I went to my doctor. He found chunks of the AstroTurf inside my ears.
I thought you got chunks.
Shut up. He found chunks of the AstroTurf inside my ears from being driven into the ground by this sizable fellow slightly smaller than myself. And he well, see, the thing is better than mine. Well, like, the way it works is we were doing these rocking drills, and he was supposed to come and push off the tackler off me, but as he running, he slipped and fell sideways, and it was kind of like his hip ass area hit down in my head, and that's how it happened. But the point I was kind of getting to here is, when that happened to me, I popped up straight away and run back in for the next set of tackling. I had a sore head, but I was like, doesn't matter. Like, everyone was looking at me as if to say, are you alright? But I was like, no, come on, next, go. And that was just me in training. In a Champions League final, he takes a knock. He's the goalkeeper. Play is going on. He kind of knows he can't sit there. Like, maybe if it was maybe a slightly older keeper, he would be like, ref, someone like calling to him to maybe just. But at the same time, he's thinking,
he's not Spanish, though. He's not going to let him fake injury.
he's kind of going, well, I'm just, I got to pop up here. He says it to the referee that he got hit in the head. In rugby, if you say to the referee, I've been hit in the head, the referee will send you off for a concussion check. Yeah. That's what happens, and a substitute will come on until you get checked. And at the time, the referee, like, the attitude in soccer, because there are no big head collisions unless they're completely accidental. They're rare. Like, I don't know if you remember Christopher Kramer at the last World Cup final against Argentina.
I do.
Was it Garay's shoulder he ran into at full pelt and got knocked out cold?
Oh, he got knocked the fuck out.
Doesn't remember that game.
I'm surprised he remembers who he is.
Here's the funny thing. Christopher Kramer was in the first, was picked for a World Cup final. Where has he been since? He's never had the career. He's never had the career we thought. Well, he still plays, but he was at Mönchengladbach on loan from Leverkusen. Ever expected to go back to Leverkusen and be a star player for them, but it never worked out. And I think he's back at Mönchengladbach, and I'm not even sure if he's the first choice for them at the minute. But you know what I mean? It's like at the time he was only in his 2021, and they were like, this is the next great German midfielder. You know, he was a holding midfielder essentially, but he was kind of he could do a lot. People were comparing him to Ballack and guys like this, but you know, his career never took off, and you wonder how much did that collision take out of him. So that's my experience of concussion. I felt nothing, but the doctors in the hospital 2 days later were like, "Man, I don't know. You could have, possibly, yeah."
Your head got squished into the AstroTurf by a sizable
rugby player, yeah,
with a sizable posterior.
Hip, yeah.
And you didn't feel it?
Well, I had a sore head, but
I would imagine
I have a rather large head.
It would take more than a Panadol to solve that one.
But like, when you're kind of like the adrenaline flowing and you're doing those rucking drills and you're trying to be the toughest guy on the rugby pitch, you're like, pop straight back up, throw yourself into the next one. I can get some like you said, Panadol tonight when I get home. But I just moved on with it. But I started feeling weird. I was forgetting things, and it's like a sore head a few days later. So it's because it's a brain injury. You don't really know how it's going to affect you. And like Peter Cech had that cracked skull.
Yeah,
cracked skull is at least a visible injury. And they were like, okay, we got to fix that crack in his skull.
It was impressed in the skull, yeah.
So they were like, okay, we'll fix his skull. You take this amount of time off. You use this protection on your head to protect it going forward. But once the bone is healed, you're healed. When it's a brain injury and your brain shakes around and gets smashed off the bits of your skull, they really have no idea what symptoms you're going to show. So Karius seemed to have no symptoms. But, people point out one of the saves he made after he made the first mistake. He made a save down his near post, a very sort of quick reaction save. And everyone was saying, but he made that good save. Like, people are confusing. One of the saves he made was in the first half. He made one good save. Was it from Ronaldo head? Remember the Ronaldo header?
Down around the post, wasn't it?
So yeah, it was a brilliant save. Like, and then it was the time that Benzema tucked in the rebound, but Benzema was offside. Do you remember that was early enough in the game?
Yeah.
But he'd made that initial save, and people confused that with that was in the first half. The second save he made, I can't remember who it was from, but it was down to his left. But I remember that save, and the ball was about 3 yards past the post. He makes a good save, but the ball was going wide. And I'm thinking now did he go for that because he thought it was closer to him than it actually was? Like, because the doctor seemed to think it was his depth perception issue with him. So did he go for that, thinking that ball's closer to him than it was? Because even though it's a good save, if you watch it back, it's going wide. It's going fairly comfortably wide. And a goalkeeper...
You're not going to take that chance in the Champions League final, though.
That's true, but it just... it's an odd one, and like I said, the symptoms can sometimes not show anyway. The symptoms started showing him afterwards, and he got seen. The doctor said, yeah, he was concussed.
Depends on how you class those symptoms. If you look at his performance, it kind of says that something wasn't right.
Exactly. There are two very bad mistakes.
Yeah, bread and butter stuff.
So yeah,
Well, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
You can give him the benefit of the doubt.
I won't even argue this one.
I think the people who are calling it an excuse are people who are not involved in a sport where concussion is more prevalent, and they have had a kind of a bit more experience with it and realise that it's a big deal and that it might not look like a normal injury. I think for like what Ramos is saying, like, I don't care. Like he's a wonderful player. He's a wonderful player. Like I said, he kept Dani Alves out of the Sevilla team for a while when he was playing right back. Everyone knew he was going to be a centre back because he was such an athlete. But when he was young, he was so fast and he could shoot like his shooting power, bomb at right side.
Look at his goals.
He scored some amazing goals. Real played him as a right back for a while when they signed him, but everyone knew because of his physique he was going to end up as a centre half. But he was a phenomenal player from he was about 18, and his play over the course of his career has shown him up to be a sort of a, what you might say, not the best sportsman, but he's a winner, and I would expect nothing else from him, especially in interviews with reporters who are dying for headlines, because there's no serious football on right now.
Well,
they need to fill the pages.
He is a hot topic. Suppose, what else we got? Transfer rumours today. Shaqiri to Liverpool from Stoke. What do you think?
I don't know. Liverpool tried to buy Shaqiri when he was at Bayern. So Rodgers tried to buy him. But he decided he wanted to go to Inter instead of Liverpool.
Yeah.
He went to Inter, couldn't get in the team. 6 months later, he was at Stoke. And he's been at Stoke ever since. And so I think every time a transfer window comes up, he gets linked with Liverpool, but it was a different coach who originally tried to buy him.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, so
enough said.
When you think of the kind of player Shaqiri is he the kind of player that would fit Liverpool's system? Where would he go? What position would he play in that system?
He done well front on the bench. I'm sorry, I'm being a dick.
That's fine. It's a fair point. Like, unless Liverpool are going to get rid of some of the bench warmers they have, and they need extra bench warmers. I mean,
it did very well. Mark Hughes took serious interest in him because of how well he's on the bench.
But that was it. Mark Hughes found a use for him.
Yeah,
and
he linked up well with Arnautovic, and they done what they done, and then when Arnautovic wasn't there, Stoke went down. Shaqiri got to do his own.
Yeah, well, Shaqiri is a good player. I don't mind him.
All shoulders, no neck.
Weird physique, but yeah. Do you know what's funny about Shaqiri? Shaqiri used to play left back. You think about it now, and you think, whoever picked Shaqiri as a left back? Because you're going,
he's
there's
fast,
no way.
He's strong, but there's no height.
We see he accelerates well because he's got that short, kind of very stocky physique. Those people tend to sprint well, but don't have a kind of a pace over a long period, which is why I think he wouldn't suit Liverpool, because he can't run like, say, Mane would do, running into a gap. He
already have a Jordan Henderson.
He eats up the ground, yeah.
Sorry.
No.
See, Johnny Evans went to Leicester today.
It's a good sign for Leicester.
They paid it,
like 3 million.
3.5 million. Buyout clause.
Good centre.
I'm surprised it was still available. Like any of the 20 teams in the Premier League. He's a fantastic squad player, and for likes of Leicester, he'd be a starter. I always liked Evans.
He would be good.
I felt he should never have left us.
He'd be a good replacement for Morgan.
Yeah.
Well, actually, what age is Morgan?
He must be 30 odd.
Well, you know, he's a good player, and if they need maybe to round some of,
far behind that.
Maybe they kind of want to round some of Harry Maguire's edges. Maybe he's a bit sort of, he's still a bit raw, and having an older head in there. It's high quality centre.
Evans has plenty of experience.
You know, it's
Ferguson. He came through the ranks playing along with Vidic and Ferdinand.
Won
a Premier League title.
Ferguson
won 2 Premier League titles.
Ferguson thought he would. 3? Should have left.
2 or 3.
I'd say plenty. Whatever.
I know he came through 2008-2009 season, won the title. It was the year Ronaldo decided to fuck off. He was there. Moyes' year that you we don't talk about.
Van Gaal decided to sell him.
Van Gaal decided that.
But Van Gaal decided to sell him after a year of injuries, wasn't it? Sold him for $6 million.
Yeah.
Because he had injuries, and then he went on, had 2 unbelievable seasons under Pulis.
It was very
30 games, 30 and 32 games or something he played, and then you kind of going, you sold him because you thought he was injury prone. He's just played unbelievable.
My thoughts, without getting too technical, I thought Louis Van Gaal was an absolute fucking muppet, and I didn't agree with anything he done. the whole time he was there.
Well, Van Gaal's a weird guy. Do you know Van Gaal and Moyes did the same thing? They didn't do the same thing, but they had the same problem, and that Moyes wanted to be getting the ball wide and pumping crosses in. Do you remember they had something like 70 crosses in one game?
It was ridiculous. They couldn't score.
I remember I brought this up about one of the reasons that I thought Robertson didn't get in the Liverpool team right away is because when he used to get it, he was still playing like a Hull City player. Like he's a good player, but when he would get it, he was just hoofing it into the box.
Into the back post. Bang.
And that doesn't always work, as you saw in the Moyes era at Brighton.
Yeah.
Just because you put 70 crosses in there doesn't mean a 6'5" prototypical British.
But that's
insert
why he
any
signed,
country in the world, centre half isn't going to clean those up.
That's why he signed Manuel Fellaini. But 70 crosses in and Fellaini will score 40 of them. Boom! What a deal! Fuck off, Moyes.
Fellaini was a centre back in Belgium. I remember him playing
centre back,
centre half.
You were fucking better off as a kit man or something.
I say I remember him playing though. I remember him being listed as a centre half. I think it was a Standard Liège. Standard, I think he was at. He was listed as a centre back for a while. Then he was a holding midfielder. Then he came to Everton. Moisey started playing him up front because he could hoof the ball up to him, and he would hold it up. And guys like Tim Cahill would come running around him and get goals. And then he bought him for United, and it's like, yeah, we're going to use him as like a number 10. And you're like, Moisey, this is Man United. This is not how Man United play football.
And then Moyes wondered why he got the time he got. I'm surprised it was the 2nd of August after signing Fellaini.
The Van Gaal.
You made a mistake, David.
Van Gaal came in and he was very much that sort of we talked before the possession based Dutch football coach, but it was like we talked before, or I've told you off record that there's kind of 2 different ways of playing Dutch football, and you have his kind of defensive, keep the ball for long periods of time, and then you have what people kind of refer to as the tiki taka Pep Guardiola and
attractive
Cruyff style, which is guys running all over the pitch and getting balls almost quickly into the forwards, and let the kind of forwards do damage. But yeah, he just, when I think back to his Dutch team of that World Cup, that's what got him the job, was his performance as the Dutch coach. But he had one of the hardest to watch Dutch teams. They were like, Leroy Fair got in it.
Yeah.
And Leroy Fair, the ultimate relegation guy. I think every team he's been at now in the Premier League has been relegated, including Swans.
The Achilles heel.
But he's this is the kind of, he didn't really have an idea of what to do with even like Wijnaldum. Like Wijnaldum was a bit too skillful for him. Like that was, he played Schneider, but not like Schneider was Rafael van der Vaart. Schneider's a good player, but Van der Vaart was that much more mercurial, sort of Juan Mata player.
Yeah.
And it's like they're definitely different, even though they kind of played the same position. But yeah, it's when you think back to it, Van Gaal was a bad appointment.
I didn't like him. Didn't like him day one. Didn't like anything about him. Didn't like how he played. I didn't like the teams he put out. I didn't like any of his press conferences. I didn't like his face. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I just didn't like him.
You do mean it in a disrespectful way. Just say it.
I do, yeah.
It's not like you can go, I don't like your face in a respectful way.
It was me just trying to be respectful in a non-disrespectful way.
Okay, so have you anything else to talk about?
No, but a World Cup prep for next week, by kick-off next week.
Oh, I can't wait. The World Cup. We talked about players that have arrived, and we talked about Fred, but I never kind of gave you my thoughts going forward for what Fabinho is going to do to Liverpool's midfield.
Go for it.
You are going to love this.
Blow my mind.
You're going to love this.
Here we go.
Because Jordan Henderson is at the World Cup, Fabinho is going to take his place at the start of the season. And if he plays well, he might take his place permanently in the Liverpool midfield.
And where does Jordan Henderson end up?
Sunderland? No,
where are some of them? Like League 3 or something? You just keep dropping.
Yeah, they're bad.
It's like never in the pit, but you drop a rock.
There's we're just thinking about this. So Liverpool have a lot of players. They don't have a lot of players, but they have key players. Like their front three are all at the World Cup. 2 of them are key men for their country, so they're going to get flogged so long as those countries are in the World Cup.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them go out early because I just want to see them doing well. And, I quite like to see Senegal do well. I'd love to see Egypt do well because it's their first World Cup. So, that, I'm okay if they go deep into the World Cup, but it's going to be hard for them. What Fabinho does, though, is Fabinho and Naby Keita are both coming in. And that's two out of the 3 central midfielders. Jorginho Wijnaldum's not at the World Cup. So even if they don't buy Nabil Fekir, and I can get talking about him in a minute, that's their 3 central midfielders for the start of next season. Probably maybe with James Milner maybe coming in for Wijnaldum. One of those 2 along with the other 2. Because you're not going to spend 50 million per central midfielder and not play them. And also I think they suit the way Klopp wants to play. So he's got that tall, physical hold midfielder now who can break forward if they need him to. He's probably significantly better on the ball than Jordan Henderson. I actually heard a Liverpool fan yesterday talk about how he doesn't pass the ball as well as Jordan Henderson. I said, have you ever actually watched Fabinho play? He's an excellent passer of the ball. Having played at right back, and as a Brazilian right back, you're expected to be able to get forward. His technical ability is much higher than you would expect.
I have watched them last year for Monaco.
Champions
League.
Like Fabinho's a good run. He is a good player, and this is a really good signing. I think he's going to take over that number, what they call the number 6 role in front of the back 4, and I think he'll be a big success. Because of the type of player he is. He's a proper hold midfielder, but also a skillful enough player that he can make more use out of that role than maybe Jordan did. No disrespect, Jordan, but your best ability is running around a lot.
Why did you say no disrespect? I thought we just touched on this.
No disrespect always follows disrespect. So he always follows
running around. Look at Jordan run around there.
Yeah,
isn't he great?
He's
cringe.
He's what?
What did you pay Sunderland for him?
19 million.
Okay.
Doesn't seem like that much now, does it?
No, not in this day and age. Back then.
At the time, it was a lot.
Back then.
Do you know what, though? People soon forgot about it, though, because they spent 35 on Andy Carroll. People soon forgot about it.
Donkey of the year.
Do you know what's funny? Is they tried to buy both him and Phil Jones at the same time. 19 million each. They had the deal agreed, and Man United swooped in and got him. Offered him more money.
Yeah.
Got him first. Although, if he grew up in Blackburn, that area, probably a lot of Man United fans are in that area. I think you find those that like Blackburn's not that far from Liverpool and Manchester. Like Manchester and Liverpool are right beside each other.
Yeah.
Like an hour away or something.
50 minutes on the train.
And I don't want to say exactly, but Blackburn or Lancashire.
I
think so, or Liverpool.
Or Midlands.
So, according to some people that have come over here and played for Finn Harps that are from that area, those areas sort of outside the city, those areas tend to be full of those Liverpool Man United fans. So it's very possible that Phil Jones growing up in and around there could be a big, could have been a big Man United fan.
And that's why he snubbed him, wasn't for the money.
Whatever.
Yeah. He's our poster boy of the year now. You ever see the faces he pulls? He's the only man that can do it. Yeah. For those that couldn't see that was a perfect impression.
He's he's alright, Phil Jones. He's not turned into the new John Terry though.
He's not going to chase him on waves. Fortunately
or unfortunately. You see John Terry left Aston Villa after he didn't get promoted.
Yeah.
Sorry, John.
I could spend a full pod chatting about John Terry.
You want to do John Terry pod?
I might actually do a John Terry pod.
Yeah.
There might be gaps when the World Cup finishes until the Premier League starts. We could probably get it in there. Yeah,
maybe we could do like a Skype call or something. I'll just show up and I just say John Terry to you and I'll just hit record.
And then I start ranting. Like a rabid dog.
Right, so I was talking about the way Liverpool are going to line up. So Liverpool's formation won't change with those two midfielders coming in. they will fit perfectly into that system. Keita to one side and either Milner or Wijnaldum along with them. If they sign Fekir, it's very possible that by the time the World Cup is over, Liverpool have a whole new midfield, and we've talked before, that's their weakness.
Yeah.
The 3 centre midfielders was never up
And
to
a keeper.
quality. Obviously, the keeper. And well, the funny thing with the keeper is that they seem to be priced out of the 2 keepers they want.
But that's
Atletico
the stage it's got to now.
Atletico are trying to get Oblak on a new deal that'll have like a 200 million buyout clause. Alisson, Real Madrid are talking about trying to buy Alisson, and they're
It's 60 million or something.
60, 70, maybe even 80 million. But let's be honest, Roma are not going to give Liverpool anything cheap after they got Salah for 30 million. They're like, you lads are not getting anything cheap off us anymore.
He's gonna, because he not pay for the wine or something as well when the 2 chairmen met.
Yeah, they
definitely hope they kept the receipt. The
owner of Liverpool, the owner of Roma, both Americans.
Yeah,
they met up for dinner, Boston, somewhere like that, to finalise the deal. And he felt so bad about overcharging Liverpool for Salah that he paid for dinner, and probably doesn't think he overcharged anymore. Or at the very least, he made John Henry tip. But that's that story.
I bet he has trouble sleeping at night now.
Well, he can get over that.
Bad investment.
Right, so I think we're at the end here.
Yeah, I think so.
One more transfer story: Moses Simon.
10 million for Liverpool.
I'm wondering if this is a Liverpool just leaking it, because it came out in the Liverpool Echo, and Liverpool tend to leak that if they want someone else to bring the price down. If they were to sign him, he'd be a backup winger. He's 21, 22. He's not first choice for Nigeria.
I never heard of him.
Yeah, he's in the Nigerian squad. He's not first choice, and he's very quick. Not the biggest guy. Probably even smaller than Mane. But he's very, very quick.
Well, there's no reason now we can watch. No reason to watch Nigeria in the World Cup.
Yeah, see, he comes on. I tell you, I think a player Liverpool should sign, and I'm gonna predict this.
Go on, throw it out there.
Nigeria have a teenage goalkeeper. I think he's Uzoho. He played against England the last night, and he kind of let the ball slip under him for Harry Kane's goal. Did you see it in that game?
No, but that sounds like it would be perfect for Liverpool.
Right? It does sound like perfect for Liverpool, but he's 19 and making those mistakes. What I like about him is he's fucking huge. Something I've always said about goalkeepers. I always think Karius is a bit like he's whatever 6'3" maybe. There's something about a really tall goalkeeper coming out and collecting a cross where teams just kind of go, well, we're not going to hit any more crosses in there. He's like I say he's huge. He's 6'5". He's played a couple of times for Deportivo, not a lot, but because their goalkeepers, they're not available. Their first choice goalkeeper is actually very ill. Do you know the Wolves goalkeeper Akemi?
Yeah,
he has leukemia.
Fuck.
Yeah, he's had it all year. No talk about it. But so he's missed most of the season with Wolves. I think that Nigeria put him in their squad as an honorary member anyway. Right. And they're going to do some tribute to him to the World Cup. But he would have been their first choice keeper going into this World Cup. But it's possible it's going to be this kid Uzoho. And he's very highly rated. And we might actually get to see this kid play the entire World Cup as Nigeria's first choice.
Well, let's get a look at him then.
You know, there's been no talk about Liverpool being linked to him because Liverpool really can't be buying potential. Liverpool need to be buying someone already made.
Ready made.
You know. So that's a goalkeeper I'd quite like Liverpool to look at. But just
your first choice is going to be.
Well, I'd quite like Jan Oblak, but then again,
you're not going to pay that money.
Not to get him.
But any team's going to struggle to pay that kind of money for a goalkeeper now. Like, when's the last goalkeeper that actually went for big money? Was Emerson?
Well, Ederson went for 40, but Man City don't care about price tags.
No. And will he even be first choice for Brazil? He's up against Alisson.
Liverpool last summer had about 150 million to spend on players, and they ended up not spending it because they didn't get Van Dijk or Keita. Their big outlay was Salah.
Yeah.
And that was it. They
150 wouldn't buy him now.
Yeah, so they then eventually got Van Dijk, and they got Keita to come in the summer, and they spent most of that 150 million. In the meantime, they sold Coutinho for 142. So they should theoretically still have 142 million left to spend, but then they spent 44 million on Fabinho. So there is money there, but I think they want backups to their forwards, and it's very possible Karius could be Liverpool's number one come the start of the season, because I think Mignolet will want to leave, and probably Ward too. Well, although, you know what? Adam Bogdan will still be there.
Give Karius the benefit of the doubt. Like, is he going to have a worse game than he had, or is he going to learn from it?
Exactly, and I think Klopp is not the kind of guy to do that to him.
Buffon's looking to continue.
You know what Buffon should do? Buffon should come in as the coach, because I got serious worries about that. Do you know what? The Liverpool goalkeeping coach John Atchenberg tweeted out his delight that Pep Linders, a former Liverpool youth coach, has returned to the Liverpool coaching setup. He tried to manage a club, and he's one of those guys who was an assistant coach for a long time at Liverpool. He was head of their academy, I think, and he went out to coach in second division back in Holland. Didn't get promotion with them, got sacked. Because, sometimes coaches don't make good managers, but they're still good coaches.
Yeah.
So Liverpool immediately brought him back in. A lot of people think that maybe he'll replace Buvac, but Klopp seems to insist that the door is still open for Buvac to come back whenever he wants. And it's personal issues that he's staying for.
It's not a club he's after or nothing.
So
time will tell.
It's what was it? How would I lift it off there? Oh yeah, so Pep Linders came in, but John Atchenberg tweeted out, delighted to see Pep back. Almost all of the comments were, why do all Liverpool's goalkeepers turn to shit? Is it your coaching?
Scratch the head, hint, wink, wink.
Yeah, per John Atchenberg. I mean, he's bound to be a wonderful coach, seen as the best thing he ever did was to be Tranmere's goalkeeper.
And that's an accomplishment on its own.
So I would think that Liverpool should bring Buffon in just for like a week or two to hang out with him and say,
show them how to list their boots and what hand to put the glove on, and
just go kind of like, this goalkeeping coach is either good or full of shit.
Someone as Buffon's stature surely would have that worked out within 30 seconds of walking on the training ground.
Yeah, but you might as well pay him for the week. Seems like a cool guy to hang around with for a week.
Yeah, it would be though. But he just wears a World Cup medal. He has to obsess about it. He's never won the Champions League. He has to walk around with a World Cup medal.
God. See, there's talk that he still wants to keep playing because he wants to go somewhere where there's a chance he might win the Champions League. And when he'll be the Champions League goalkeeper, and they'll only play Champions League games, and they'll not play in the league.
Barcelona does them.
So yeah, go to Barcelona or something. But he's like, oh yeah, I go to PSG. You think PSG are going to win the Champions League?
No.
I was like,
Real are looking for a replacement for Neves. Could happen.
Do you know what? Liverpool should sign Keylor Navas. He was very good in those last two games in the Champions League.
He was, to be fair.
Can't be right. Saved that shot from Trent right at the beginning of the game too. Do you remember that at the beginning of the game? Liverpool worked Trent in a shooting position, and he hammered it between a player's legs, and he caught it. He caught it behind him on the ground.
He isn't as
highly
rated because of the teams in front of him, but he's done well.
He always does well for his country too, and he's a good keeper and solid. Alright, okay, I'm going to wrap this up. We've been talking for over an hour now.
That's actually quite short compared to what we normally do without the mic. We stand chatting in the car park and like, hey shit, it's dark.
Look, there's people showing up. They're showing up for work.
Right, guys,
wrap this up.
World Cup prep next week. I look forward to it.
Is that your ad voice or something?
I don't know. I was kind of stretching there too.
I can delete it.
I'm kind of hungry.
We're out.